We believe this video might be uncomfortable for some people, but what we want to do is show you some mistakes you might be making in your daily life that are holding you back, especially when it comes to money. It seems to us that many people don't really know what they're spending their money on. As you go through this list, it would be a good idea to check whether you're also spending on things that bring you no real value. So, without further ado, here are 15 things poor people tend to waste their money on, which keep them stuck in the same situation. Number 1. Gambling. Many people misunderstand the saying you have to spend money to make money, thinking it means buying lottery tickets, playing slot machines, or going to the casino, when in reality, that's not the case. People with fewer financial resources tend to spend much more on lotteries and gambling than those in better economic situations, because they dream of hitting the jackpot. In Australia, for example, the average person loses nearly $1,000 a year on gambling. In the United Kingdom, 48% of the population engages in some form of gambling, with lottery draws being the most popular. A 2012 study by Yale University found that people in the bottom 20% of the social ladder were the most likely to play the lottery, around 61% of them. And on average, they play it 26 days a year. Number 2. The newest technology. It's interesting to see people without much financial stability spending months of savings on new gadgets every year. Maybe you have just enough money to buy the new foldable screen phone or a smartwatch that lets you read WhatsApp messages, but that doesn't mean it's a smart decision. The same goes for TVs. You don't need the latest 70-inch 4K television if your house has cracks that need fixing or if you freeze during the winter because you can't afford heating. Another important point is how long your devices last. If you take care of them and use them for several years, you avoid spending money constantly replacing or repairing them. So, before spending a lot of money on technology just because it's new, think twice. Number 3. Credit cards. Credit cards are the last thing a person without a strong financial foundation should use. It's like continuing to dig a hole you won't be able to get out of later. The moment you're in debt, you stop working for yourself because that part of your life already belongs to what you owe, until you pay it off. Many people with limited resources max out their credit cards every month, almost as if it were a form of entertainment, and on things that aren't necessary. It's very easy to get trapped in this financial snowball that becomes extremely hard to escape. Number 4. Miracle weight loss products, strange workout devices, and TV shopping. It took you a long time to get to your current physical state, so don't expect to lose half your weight in 3 weeks just by drinking a shake you saw promoted by someone young and attractive on Instagram. The people showing off highly defined bodies in those videos are personal trainers, and they work out for many hours a day because it's their profession. Think about how many times you've fallen into the trap of buying products that promise quick and easy solutions to get in shape. The only way to improve your physical condition is to make exercise a priority in your daily life. Treat it like your second job. When do you miss work? Only when you're sick, right? The gym should be the same. No excuses. It doesn't matter if you're late or if you're sore that day. You go, and if after 10 minutes you feel the need to go back home, then go, but don't skip it. Stop overeating, go for a walk or a jog from time to time, or work out on the bars in your neighborhood. You don't need to spend money if you don't want to. It's not about buying anything, it's about changing the way you think. Number 5. Impulsive purchases. You don't need 6 phone cases, or socks with cartoons on them, or that air fryer you use only once. Deep down, you know what truly matters in your life, while the rest is just a desire being sold to you, something you don't actually need. When you finally learn to tell the difference between what you truly need and what you simply want, you begin to gain control over your daily life. A 2018 study in the United Kingdom showed that Brits spend $144,000 on impulsive purchases over their lifetime, and another study by Slick Deals, a well-known deals website, reported that Americans spend $324,000 over their lifetime on the same That's a huge amount of money you could be using on something that genuinely improves your life. Number 6. Food waste. You've probably never stopped to think about all the food you end up throwing away. We buy what we think we're going to eat, but many times we're wrong. On average, a person throws away about 46% of the vegetables they buy, 17% of dairy products, and 21% of meat. According to a study published in the American Journal of Agricultural Economics, the average household in the United States wastes 39% of its food, which amounts to an annual cost of $1,866. These waste percentages are fairly similar among both low-income and middle-class households, although those with fewer resources feel the impact even more in their day-to-day lives. Number 7. Lucky charms or spiritual items. It's surprising how people with less money spend the little they have on charms or stones that are supposedly going to bring more prosperity into their lives. Do you want to know how to make money? Well, don't waste your money on some stones with fancy names. It doesn't matter if you call them crystals or minerals. And let's not even talk about those spiritual courses that end up emptying the pockets of the most impressionable people. In some places, if you tell people not to spend money on a certain crucifix or product related to their tradition, they look at you as if you're offending their beliefs. Some organizations take advantage of this way of thinking to take money from people who barely have any resources. Number 8. Smoking and vaping. It's interesting, isn't it, how people with a scarcity mindset tend to pick up other unhealthy habits like smoking or vaping. A pack of cigarettes costs, on average, over $6. If you smoke one pack a day, that means you're spending almost $190 a month and over $2,200 a year. If you add that up over 10 years, you're already talking about more than $22,000, and that expense can increase depending on where you live. Maybe you haven't realized you're working a whole month just to afford that habit. It's estimated there are approximately 1 billion smokers in the world, which is about 1 in every 7 people. With the rise of vaping devices, tobacco companies have found a new way to keep making money from people who want to switch from traditional cigarettes to electronic ones. Number 9. Your taxes. Imagine you live in a place like the United States, where the tax system works in such a way that the more money you make, the more ways you have to reduce what you pay in taxes. For example, a wealthy person often owns businesses, investments, or properties. The government offers benefits if you create jobs, invest in businesses, or help stimulate the economy. These benefits can come in the form of deductions, exemptions, or reductions in what you owe. On the other hand, people with less money have little access to these kinds of options for paying less in taxes. If you work as an employee and don't own anything, you can't take advantage of those benefits. As a result, proportionally, you end up paying a higher percentage of your income in taxes than someone who owns a business and can deduct many expenses. That's why some say that lower-income individuals end up paying more taxes relative to what they earn, while the rich, although they pay more in total, benefit from deductions that lower the amount they owe based on what they generate. Also, it's interesting how happy some people get when they receive a tax refund. The first thing you need to understand is that money was already yours. They're just giving it back to you without generating any kind of gain. The second thing is that, in reality, you lost, because that money was in the hands of the government and earned you no interest. If you had managed it yourself, you might have made some extra income. In short, instead of giving money to the government without getting anything in return, you could find a way to make that money work for you. Rather than allowing too much to be withheld, you could adjust the deductions from your paycheck, or your tax payments, so they don't take so much throughout the year. That way, you could invest the difference or use it to start a small business. Number 10. Well-being. Well-being is like a big monster that follows you. The more you ignore it, the bigger it gets and the more damage it causes. You don't want to pay the dentist to fix a tooth, but then you end up having to spend much more on an implant. You don't want to pay for a medical checkup, and later you might find yourself in the hospital. It's much cheaper to pay for a consultation than to face a funeral. For some reason, people with fewer resources often believe that if they ignore the problem, it will go away on its own, but that never ends well for anyone. Number 11. Spending on video games and in-app purchases. Let the numbers speak for themselves. A study shows that 69% of Fortnite players spend money on the game, investing an average of $85 on digital items like character outfits or accessories that aren't necessary to play. In the case of Clash Royale, daily revenue exceeded $1.5 million in August, generated by people paying for extra lives or special chests. The most concerning part of this type of entertainment isn't just the money spent, though the amounts are enormous, but the time lost in the process. Just look at how long it takes to level up or to watch online matches. Those who consider themselves gamers can easily rack up 1,000 hours of gameplay in a year. Some might say that's not a lot, but if the average hourly wage in the United States is $20, you'd be losing $20,000 in that time, not including the cost of buying the game, the console or computer, and all the extra in-app purchases. Number 12. Going to a nightclub party. It's fun to order expensive bottles when you go out dancing and have everyone looking at your table, but you know what's not so fun? Going back to that low-paying job for the rest of the month just to have a few hours of glamour. You're not a highly successful person if you spend your money at the club just to impress people who are in the same situation as you. There's a saying the wealthy use: make your money work for you, don't work for money. Every dollar you spend on partying could be generating passive income if you invested it wisely. It's up to you to decide whether you want to live to impress others or work to secure your financial future. Number 13. Style and appearance. Have you noticed the nails or haircuts some people have, even though they can't afford to fix their car? This always stands out to us because it holds them back. You work all the time and then treat yourself to a haircut that, in just a few weeks, no longer has that wow effect, especially on people who aren't doing much better than you. If you think about it, many wealthy people have simpler hairstyles, and you won't see top businesswomen with heavily decorated nails or glittery things all over. It's a matter of priorities. First, get your life in order, and when you truly have extra money, do whatever you want. Instead of spending your money on unnecessary things, it's better to invest in what you really need. Number 14. Donations. This brings up a sensitive topic. When you give money to an organization, it doesn't always go directly to the people who need it. In reality, a large portion of that money covers employee salaries and other administrative expenses. That's why many say that foundations are some of the biggest scams, as they take advantage of the goodwill of people who want to help but don't really know how the money is being spent. To give an example, it's known that the directors of charitable organizations in the UK earn anywhere from £200,000 to over £1 million per year. And this happens in many parts of the world. Additionally, around 35% of the money a foundation raises goes toward more campaigns to keep asking for more donations, creating a cycle that leaves very little benefit for those who actually need help. That's why, instead of donating during a televised charity marathon, it might be better to buy food or basic supplies for a local shelter, or teach people how to earn a living on their own. In short, instead of giving them something temporary, teach them how to obtain what they need consistently. Number 15. Your bank. Your bank can take more money from you than you think. You pay fees when you deposit money, you pay fees when you withdraw it, and the interest they give you to grow your savings is very low. What's more, sometimes it doesn't even cover the general increase in prices. So leaving your money there can make you lose out, both in the short and long term. We live in a time when everything changes very fast, and the old advice of saving money in the bank no longer works the same way. That's why some people advise learning to make your money work for you, instead of leaving it in an account that doesn't give you what you expect. Now let's talk about something that wealthier people do, but poorer people don't do as much. Sometimes we focus so much on every expense that we forget what's truly important, making our money grow more and more. Many of the expenses we talked about earlier can be countered with specific measures. But there's a deeper mindset shift that can bring lasting and positive results. Here are some ideas to improve your financial situation and get out of the rat race. Great ideas aren't worth much if they're not applied consistently. You can read all the books on entrepreneurship, make plans, or set goals, but if you don't act every day by taking concrete steps, those ideas are useless. The important thing is to start with something simple and repetitive. For example, if you decide to save a fixed amount each week or start a project, do it and evaluate your progress regularly. Instead of obsessing over saving every last cent, focus on increasing your income. Do you have a skill you can turn into a service? Can you give online classes or consultations? Dedicate your time to finding ways to earn more money instead of worrying about eliminating every small expense. If you work for someone, maybe you can propose a project that benefits the company and helps you get a promotion or a bonus. Sometimes we spend hours comparing prices at the supermarket when we could dedicate that same time to finding ways to earn a little more. Passive income goes a step further. It's different from active income because it doesn't require you to be present all the time to receive money. Examples of passive income include renting out a property, monetizing a video channel with recorded content, or investing in funds that generate profits. With passive income, you not only get money, but also more freedom. You can use your time to be with your family, work on personal projects, or simply rest, without your bank account stopping growing. The big difference between rich and poor people isn't always in how much they earn, but in how they manage all their money. Wealthy people track everything: fixed expenses, investments, extra expenses, and even their morning coffee. They know exactly how much they allocate to each thing and, most importantly, they know when something isn't working. If they're overspending on something that doesn't provide value, they cut it without hesitation. This discipline allows them to save, invest, and continue accumulating wealth. In contrast, many poor people think that keeping accounts is only for accountants or that there's no need to do it because they don't earn much. But that way of thinking is a big mistake. If you don't know what you're spending your money on, you'll never be able to control it. One day you wake up and don't understand why you don't have enough money. The key is awareness. Wealthy people see their money as a tool, and detailed tracking allows them to make the most of it. What about you? Do you tend to take more actions like the wealthy or like the poor?